Well, welcome to the show here, Rob. Now, we always love talking about Matchbox 20 because we claim you guys as one of the greatest bands that's ever come out of our great state of Florida. I know back in the day, you guys started the whole thing off in Orlando, and so we get to claim you along with Tom Petty is up there.
We had Seven Mary 3 was a really great Florida band.
Yeah, very good band. And just for our own personal rankings, you guys right at the top, well above Limp Bizkit, just for the record. They're fantastic and they had their place, but I mean, come on, man. Matchbox 20. You started the whole thing in Orlando back in the day. Now, where are you right now? You got multiple places, or do you ever get back to Orlando?
Well, I have, so my in-laws are all in Kissimmee, so I'm back there quite often. My family, my only family, my blood family lives outside of Sarasota, Bradenton area.
Okay.
So I get to that area quite a bit, but I live, for the last 20-something years, I'm here in Westchester, New York.
Oh, okay. Very nice. All right.
I've got 8 inches of snow outside my door right now.
Yeah, I saw. It was kind of crazy. Do you ever get an itching to ever maybe come back to Florida, especially at least, we do that snowbird concept where, you could live in Westchester in the summer when it's nice and then come back to Florida in the winter.
I usually, except for the last 3 years, usually I'm on the road enough that I'm in Florida quite often. It's funny. I was just in West Palm last weekend.
Oh, no way.
I just came in for a solo corporate gig for a corporation at the Four Seasons over there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's very cool. So yeah,
it was nice. It was not. I needed that weather break. It was because it was actually not even that humid that weekend. It was just really, really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're starting to get more musicians around here. John Bon Jovi just moved to the area, and he was out the other day enjoying Benny's on the Beach, Virginia.
Yes, I did see the pictures.
Yeah,
he was at Benny's on the pier.
So Rob,
well, it's good enough for John.
Yeah. So next time you're in town, you got to check out Benny's on the Beach. It's not far from where you were at the Four Seasons. So tell me a little bit about, with Matchbox 20, you guys are coming back full force here. This is going to be the band's first single in 10 years that is going to be coming out.
We put out North in 2012. Mm-hmm. And I think because, we're a touring band. So when we put out that record, then we toured for a year and a half all over the world. And then we take a little break. Then I was in the studio. I made a solo record. Then I toured that solo record.
Right.
Then Matchbox 20 went on tour with no record just for our 20th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And we went out with Counting Crows that year. And then I went out the next year. And then I was on the road right at the end of 2019, right when everything going into 2020, when everything got shut down for 3 years.
Wow.
So we've all been working and writing and doing things. Mm-hmm. It's just that we were supposed to get back together a few years before we did.
Right. So everything's just kind of been on pause like the rest of the world.
Now, but we weren't going to make a record. We were just going to tour and maybe just release singles every now and then. Mm-hmm. But because of all this extra time, and we're always writing, it was just maybe it was just felt like the right thing to do to put together a proper album again.
I got a quick question for you, Rob. How long, when you do writing, is that an everyday kind of a thing, or do you kind of space all that out?
I mean, it mostly is an everyday kind of thing. I think I go through these periods where at the end of an album cycle, when all the songs are written for an album, and you go into the recording of it and the promotion of it, there's maybe a 2-month period where I'm not writing as much. I just feel kind of I give my head a break and I go out and live some stuff to write about. But most of the time, it's something that you do every day. You write a little bit every day, and then one day you write something that you really, really like. I feel like I write this, it might be an exaggeration, but only on the low end. That if I write a record, by the time I write that record, I've probably written 2 other records of material that just don't make it. Because you have the only way out is through. So you have to write and write and write, and then I'll write 3 songs, and then I'll write 1 song and go this is the one I want to start with. I want everything that has to be as good as this song now. And then you keep trying to raise the bar.
How do you feel you are at judging your own material? Because you may have a song that you feel this is a single, this is something that's going to do well on the radio, and then you have the collaboration of a record label and everybody else that kind of gets involved. How often do you think that matches up? When you have a hit, you have an Unwell or something like that, does it just jump off the page and immediately this is going to be a hit?
I think, like my job is usually just to try and figure out if I think I wrote a good song. Luckily you have labels and you have a producer, and everybody has an opinion on songs that they think are going to be singles. I think the job of when you're making a record is you have to be the catcher in the rye for the songs that aren't singles, but you think are really great songs that round out and make a good, well-rounded album. The songs that aren't trying to swing for the fences and that they're never going to be on the radio, but they're going to make this record more special. I think those are the ones that you really just rely on your inner voice, and those are the ones that people are like, yeah, if you want to put it on there, put it on there. I think like if whenever you have a song like this new single Wild Dogs, everybody, there's 4 songs on the record. You play the record and everybody's like, okay, this is a good record. These 4 songs, one of these is going to be the single. And then everybody just kind of has a conversation about which one of those songs.
When a song's written, do you start to do a melody kind of a thing, or do you write down words first, or how does your process go?
Everybody does it differently. For me, 90% of the time it's a melody. Like it's literally like kind of like you're writing, you have a chord progression and you're and like and that creates its own imagery. Like there's a color that kind of comes out of that, and then it starts to kind of inform you of something that you might want to write about. And that's kind of the way that I've always done it. Every now and then somebody will say something that strikes you as like, oh, and you run downstairs and you turn that into a melody.
Now, when you put together a new Matchbox 20 record, are you guys in the same room together, or are you doing what a lot of artists are doing now, where you'll do bits and pieces and you'll digitally just keep sending it to each other? And does that change the creative process if you've ever done it that way?
Well, because everybody does a lot of writing in the band whenever we're together, we start off at our homes because we're always writing and we're sending in ideas. Like,
okay.
And when we feel like they don't even have to be all finished songs. You have to like a good verse chorus vibe of, and once you feel like everybody's putting together enough to get together and work on, then we all get together and we really flesh them out. And then, and that's when they really take shape. I mean, you write a song is different than making a record. Like you write a song, I could play it for you on the guitar or play it on the piano. Mm-hmm. It takes on a whole nother life when the band gets a hold of it and they start to, add production to it.
Do people get butthurt if they have an idea and it kind of gets shot down? Because I know sometimes here in radio, if people don't get their idea, they get a little bitchy.
Yeah, I mean, I think a little less than we used to, as we get older. And the reason why I started doing solo stuff is so that I could allow this band to be more collaborative, because I write so much and I didn't want to feel like I was writing so much and not having a place to put them. But I also didn't want to force this to be an environment where guys had to leave their homes and their families for a year and a half to play my music alone. So I had that solo outlet to do that. I mean, for me personally, there was, I think, a little bit of there always is, like I work in my solo world and I kind of have autonomy and this control. And then I move over and I start to do something, and the guitar player in Matchbox 20, Kyle, is like, yeah, no, I don't like that. And my first reaction is like, well, screw you. What do you know?
What do you know?
Yeah. And then, inevitably he'll do something that's better and I'll be like, oh, I hate that. That's better. All right. Yeah, let's go. Let's do that. So I think you need to turn off the ego for a second. And your first thing is you have a lot of trepidation about that kind of inclusivity and that working. And then you learn to embrace it. And then you realize that, the reason why we've been a band for 30 years is because we trust each other. And so if I'm going to listen to anybody's instincts, it's going to be somebody in this band.
I love it. Do you get a little bit of a lump in your throat when you know it's Rob Thomas time and you're going off to do a solo project and you got to let everybody else in Matchbox 20 know? Or is there just do you be like, hey, I got Rob Thomas time now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the things that that comes along with just having me in the band at this point. Yeah. And I don't think they love it. I mean, nobody likes the idea that if they're not working, I'm working, and they're not working because I'm working. Mm-hmm. But that's just more of the practical side of it. We've known each other for a very long time, so there's no grudges about it. Nobody's, really upset by it. And even if it's not something they love, we're in our 50s now, Matchbox 20 is a big part of what we do, but it's no longer our entire life anymore. We have families, we have homes, we have other things that we want to do and accomplish. And I think we all understand that about each other.
You've had some great collaborations. One of the biggest songs all time is the one you did with Santana. I saw that you've actually collaborated. Willie Nelson is one, even Mick Jagger. You've done some collaborations with.
Yeah, I did some stuff with Mick Jagger. And me and Willie, I wrote like 3 songs for Willie Nelson. I was in one of his videos. It's like an all-time high for me. I wrote a song for Seal.
No pun intended.
I've written a song for Mary J. Blige and Music Soul Child.
Yeah.
And Travis Tritt. I've managed to kind of like spread it out to a bunch of different people and be able to work with a lot of really talented people.
Do you have a person right now in music that you find is just they're just on the creative cusp that you'd be like, I would love to just maybe sit and work a song out with them?
I know, there's this new kid. Have you heard of this John Mayer? I think it's Mayer.
We love him.
Oh,
I think that kid is going places. I really feel there's strong vibes from him.
so good.
He plays guitar too. He's not just a writer. I don't know if you knew that.
He's not bad at the guitar.
Matchbox 20 has got a brand new album. The single is going to be the first in 10 years. The album Where the Light Goes is going to be coming out on May 26. You guys got to be touring and following up on that and coming back to South Florida. You're going to be at the I Think Financial Amphitheater, the big dog here, coming up on July 7th. So you have picked a really great swampy time. I'd wear some light-fitting clothing, Rob.
Hey, listen, I grew up in Florida, so I know it well. I have an entire different Florida wardrobe for when we play outdoor venues.
I can only imagine.
It's just a loincloth and a do-rag.
That's perfect, man. Well, thanks for jumping on with us. We're going to check out the brand new single, Wild Dogs Running in a Slow Dream. Rob, what would you like to tell us about this single, how it came together? I know that you and your wife have a passion for dogs. Does this have anything to do with the song?
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny because people associate me with dogs so much. But this is, about when I was a kid, I was kind of an outcast at first, like in high school. I didn't really find a place where I fit in. I kind of felt like I was an oddball. And there's something about being that oddball kid when you finally meet another group of oddballs and you realize that you do have a family, and for me it was those kids around the other side of the school probably smoking cigarettes by the wall. They were the punk kids and the alt kids, but they were the ones. And there's a line with the Wild Dogs, saying, come on over, let's go. And that's kind of like a literal thing of like me, being young and your friends coming and beating on your window at 2:00 in the morning, like, come on, let's go make some bad decisions. Like finding that family was everything to me. So, and then that family became meeting a bunch of other musicians. And then this became my misfit group of toys.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, maybe like the missing piece meets the big O. Like when you just finally figure out where you belong.
That's very cool. Well, Rob, thank you for jumping in with us today, and enjoy Wild Dogs Running in a Slow Dream, brand new Matchbox 20.